Good morning, and you're watching the Kaiser Report, and I'm John. I'm coming to you today with to talk about a couple of things. One is we have a rainy day here, so not too much to do outside today. I was hoping to maybe get a film or a broadcast from outside today, but we'll have to wait for the sunshine tomorrow to do that. Well, I guess that Mitch McConnell, Turtleface himself, has managed to get the GOP senators onto his side for the long fight against giving Ukraine $60 billion, which he was a proponent of. He got with Schumer, he got with the president, Joe Biden, and they decided that this had to go through at all costs. And here we are. They're going to pass it in the Senate, or have passed it already. And McConnell punctuated the win over his party's non-interventionist wing by flipping the votes of the more than half dozen past opponents, tweaking Tucker Carlson for the blame on his opponents. Well, you know, Tucker Carlson went to Russia and interviewed and got the other side, which the mainstream media never bothers to tell you what both sides are. They just carry what the White House tells them is the line of the day to carry and report to you and me, the public, the taxpayers who are being emptied out on a continual basis by these people. They're giving away the store continually, and I have to only believe that some of it is circling back to their families' pockets. It's unbelievable what's going on inside the halls of Congress, number one, and the Senate is so corrupt right now, it's ridiculous. And McConnell, what a useless individual he is in supporting this travesty of a bill giving away billions and billions of dollars. $100 billion is going to foreign aid when we have veterans and we have citizens of this nation in the street, in tents, with no ability to either earn a living because of the shutdowns that have happened, or they can't feed themselves. Not to mention the working population in this country is having a hard time putting food on the table unless it's the cheapest possible processed food that you can go and buy anywhere. You have to ask yourself what's going on in Congress, and remember. And then yesterday, we have a congressperson going over to meet with Zelensky and handing him a piece of paper with a list of everyone who voted in Congress for this bill of $60 billion. What right does he have to have a list of what senators voted on what? This guy shows up on the floor of our Congress and on the floor of our Senate while they're waving Ukraine flags like idiots in a dirty sweatshirt, asking for billions of dollars, and they give it to him. And then on top of that, they come back and give him more? He greeted this congressperson and several other people yesterday in the same dirty sweatshirt. It's unbelievable what this little creep is getting away with our tax dollars. Our military supplies that we're already short on, we're giving to him, and Putin made the announcement yesterday, we know where they're going to store it, and we will bomb it to hell and back, and they'll never get to use it. So do you want to know what a waste of money is? You're looking at it, just look at your congressman. There's a handful in there that fought against it. God bless them. God bless Rand Paul and several others that stuck with him to fight against this thing, but they shoved it through because McConnell joined with the other side. For what reason, we don't know. But it should be known and it should be investigated. Right down to the last penny. And this nonsense that it's a loan to be paid back in minerals from the Donbass region, which Russia already controls. So it'll never be paid back. They have no ability to pay it back with mineral resources that they don't have. Their army's been decimated. Half their country's been decimated. They're putting children in uniforms to go out and make the fight. They cannot win, and we should not be wasting our tax dollars into a situation we know is no good, and no good will come of it. We need diplomacy. We need to put back on the table an end to this war, and somebody needs to go, and Blinken is about as useless as tits on a boar hog when it comes to negotiating anything with Putin, between Putin and the Ukraine. Now they want to put nuclear weapons into Poland and have Poland in charge of our nuclear weapons on the border of Russia. That's throwing gasoline on a fire. There's no plans in the Russian government to invade Poland. As Joe would say, come on, man. It's ridiculous at the sham of this administration and what they think they can walk away with and line their pockets of their families, of themselves, and however they can figure out to hide this, it circles back to them in either favors or whatever. What do these foreign countries have on these senators and congresspeople? Obviously, there is no common sense in the Senate anymore, and very little in the House of Representatives. It's almost funny, but it's a tragedy, not to be laughed at anymore or wonder why. You can see it plain face. They hide nothing anymore. They just put it right out there and tell you what they're going to do, just like McConnell did when he joined up with Schumer and the president to shove this thing down our throats. Remember the people who did this on I don't care what side of the aisle you favor, but they're both sides are guilty in giving away the stores here and leaving that border wide open. They could have put something about closing the border in this bill, but they didn't want that. They've turned their back on American heroes and American citizens left and right. How much more do you need to see? You're not going to see it from mainstream media. They cover up everything, which brings me to the next story. It's unbelievable. Climate change. They had flooding in Dubai. And CNN comes out with a story that the flooding was due to climate change caused by man. They left out the part, the strategic part, that they have been seeding clouds for over a year in Dubai to cause rain to happen so they can grow golf courses in cities in the desert. So they've been chemically seeding clouds, and guess what? it backfired on them because it started to rain and it didn't stop. So yes, they had flooding, but CNN wants you to believe that their climate change agenda in this government is valid because look what happened in Dubai. They had flooding in a desert. Well, they seeded clouds for a year with chemicals. Yes, they had flooding. And that's been done in the past. We know that. But we need to stop putting chemicals into the air and then calling it climate change. This climate change nonsense that even this morning I looked at Twitter and Joe Biden is posting about if you don't believe in climate change, then blah, blah, blah. Listen, climate changes, polar shifts, and things happen, and it's documented that this has been going on for millennials. So you are bold-faced watching the biggest lie ever perpetrated on the world's population with this climate change agenda that they're going on with. Hands down, it's a hoax. It's a money-making hoax. Just look at the money we're going to throw into solar energy that is not ready yet. And if you do go solar on your house, you can expect to have to maintain this stuff, and it's going to cost a fortune. These batteries are bad for the environment. If you want to talk about climate change and what we're doing to the environment, keep making these batteries for these cars and solar power and see what the destruction is to build those batteries. Not to mention, we're giving away the mineral rights for the products that are needed to make them. It's a cruel, strange world we live in now. It's not what it should be because there are too many people with special interests that know how to make money from not only our government, but from you, the taxpayer. So there's the news today in a nutshell, which brings me to what's going on with Donald Trump. Well, I guess that Fani Willis didn't get her way, and now Letitia James has been shut down on trying to say that his bond was no good. That got reversed on her. And the trial with the phony trial that with a bad jury is continuing in New York as we speak, keeping him off the campaign trail. They don't want anybody that is threatening their livelihood and their dwelling in the swamp. If you say you're going to go against it or expose it, they will kill you or keep you in jail where you can't speak to anyone. This is what they're up to. They're doing it to RFK Jr. as well, just not as publicized. Stop and think about what they have pulled going into this election and then wonder when the other shoe drops, getting closer to November, what's going to happen then? You have a uniparty right now, whether you know it or not. So your election votes in the down ballot are going to be crucial for the survival of this country. And if you don't believe that, then you're in for a rude awakening. It's a travesty what's happened to this country. So both chambers have approved and closed what the White House requested of them, which is not good when the White House can dictate to the legislators what to push through and what not to push through. That's corruption with a capital C. And if you don't see it, you need to see the eye doctor. It's in your face right now, what they're up to and what they're accomplishing. And the Speaker of the House needs to be put out of that chair sooner rather than later. And the rest of these people that voted for it, if they come up for re-election in November, vote them out. It's not good. Biden directed his senior aides to employ a two-pronged strategy, privately make it clear to Johnson at the stakes of Europe, or for the stakes of Europe, and the rest of the world, that the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, claims Ukraine leaning heavily on intelligence. What intelligence? This White House has no intelligence, and an entire cabinet is devoid of intelligence. It's crazy. Oh, in other news, we'll see what's happening here. CBS says the Supreme Court to weigh Idaho abortion ban against federal law requiring emergency care. Here we go again. Election time and abortion is front and center. This is not a political football. Abortion is a subject that has no reason to be in the political arena for any reason at all. It's a woman's choice, and it's a state legislative branch that needs to make up the state rules according to their voters' wishes. It's not an issue for politicians, especially the male politicians, to be running around talking about abortion because they know nothing about it. And the ones that identify as a female doesn't give them the right to tell any woman what to do with her body or her mind. Get it out of politics. And that goes for you too, Marsha Blackburn. Enough is enough. As I said, it's a rainy day here today. It's going to probably rain for the next 4 to 5 hours, I'm told. So we are going to go downtown Bristol and visit a couple of shops down there if we can get out to do that today. I will bring that to you as a supplement to this broadcast. And remember, take a quiet moment in a beautiful space, hopefully a space outdoors in nature. Reflect on all of what you've seen in the last almost 4 years and what they're telling you and what may happen with the amount of illegals that we have running through this country, and we don't know what they're up to. And find that quiet place, reflect, and pray to God that we get the help we need in this nation to continue the life that we grew up in and we all know should be the way here. We need to stop pouring money into wars and into countries that hate America. They're in the streets chanting death to America. Pray that that stops, please. And pray every day for your family and this country. Now that brings me to the next thing is these students that are in our universities that are out wearing the schmatas of Palestine, trying to look like Yasser Arafat with their faces covered, and they're protesting for Palestine. Let them go to Palestine and see how much they can get away with there. These students should be expelled from that university and never allowed back in again. That's not what we support our educational facilities to do. They're there to learn, not dictate to you what country you have to help and what country you want to hate. These universities are at fault here for allowing this to happen on their campuses. And I believe in free speech, but if you have to cover your face and you have to go out and rave about another country, then you need to go to that country and help them out yourself. But don't disrupt an entire city and students that want to go into that university to learn and come out with a degree without the aggravation. And if you're, God forbid, you're a Jewish student, you have to live in fear to get through these people to go to your classes. That's not the American way. That is, however, the way of Hezbollah and Hamas. Why are you supporting terror groups that want an end to your world and the Israeli state? Not fair to the students that are there to learn. Not fair for us to have to turn on the evening news or listen on the radio to people chanting in Arabic. And most of these students are not of that ethnic background, which is the comical part. You have, young students in the street that, in some cases are, oh, geez, I don't want to even go into it. It's wrong, and the university heads should be taken to task on this, and not in a hearing where you ask a couple of questions and say, see, we did our job. This is the nonsense that Congress and the Senate like to do anymore, have these hearings, and nothing comes out of them. I mean, look at the Hunter Biden nonsense that's going on. You have Bob Alinsky with all the proof in the world, and all they do is talk and waste time, waste money. This Congress needs to get hold of the purse strings and tighten them up. And if they don't want to do it, let's elect people that will do it. Let's get together as a citizenry and take those seats away from them. Enough said on that. And it's always bad news, but you can't believe CNN and CNBC. Oh my God, this Rachel Maddow is out of control. And they let her just run with it. What is the matter with these organizations? They are owned by the Democratic Party that is in charge of destroying this country and filtering the news that you receive. It's no longer news. You don't have journalists anymore. There's no more Murrows out there to deliver the truth in the news as it happens, not an opinion of what the news should be told to you, filtered by the White House. We have a carnival cabinet of diversity that have no business being in the jobs that they are. They're not capable of doing that work. However, they're capable of going in poor and coming out as millionaires. And therein lies the question that should be asked, how did that happen? But no one wants to ask it in mainstream media because they're being paid by them. It's not good. And all of the legacy news medias, and for some that think that Fox is different, there's underlying things there. And if they get out of control and step out of line with what they're saying, like Tucker Carlson, they're fired. They're put out. When Juan Williams tells you that he was too conservative for PBS and they let him go for that, that should tell you something. PBS is 98% employs card-carrying Democrats, and they carry the line and they lie. They all are lying to you. If you want to go to a department store where there's multiple TVs, just put on all the news channels and they all say the same words. That should tell you that it's scripted. Enough of that. God bless you all. We love having you here at the Kaiser Report. And please remember, if you can, hit the like button, share this channel, and of course, subscribe if you haven't. And leave me comments of what you're thinking and what your thoughts are so I get a better idea of what the real population is talking about. And until tomorrow, John, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to get out of here. The music is playing and I'm off the air. So God bless. See you tomorrow.